Good evening, everyone. Hi. Welcome to Environmental Coffee House. And I'm kind of somber right now. I have been extremely worked up for quite a while. And tonight I calmed down, but it's nice to see you. Hi, Chris. And Kim and Jean, thank you for moderating. And Looney Tunes, thank you for moderating. It's great to see all of you. So it is last week in collapse. And I want to do it. There's some things, but I've got something else after that. And I've got some things I want to talk about with everybody. You know, it's hard to not talk about or think about what's happening in the United States, that we are in a coup. And there's a few things that are on my mind that I kind of really want to talk about. But I think we'll get started with last week in collapse first, and we'll talk about the pertinent things that I had set up, and then we will talk about current events. It's funny because I told my family we're doing last week in collapse, and it could actually be a show about my spine. Okay, so we'll get started, and we'll pull this up, and let, we'll do it. Let's do it. Yeah, man, let's do it. Okay, well, we're going to start with last week in collapse. So it's a good one. And I have a few things that we're going to share when we go through it. I really wanted to actually talk about the data. There's a data on a PNAS study from about Amoc. And there was another new study that in the last 60 years that the Amoc has not really been affected as it's not slowing down yet. Okay, but we'll get there. So, last week in collapse, the doomsday clock ticked one closer to midnight. It's now 89 seconds away. The nonprofit managing the metaphorical clock, the Bureau of Atomic Scientists, said in a statement that, well, and this really does go over. I did talk about it in my show the other night, but in regard to nuclear risk, the war in Ukraine, now in its third year, looms over the world. The conflict could become nuclear at any moment because of a rash decision or through accident or miscalculation. The United States has alleged that Russia has tested a satellite with a dummy warhead on it, suggesting plans to place nuclear weapons in orbit. Oh, how sick are we? The global greenhouse gas emissions that drive climate change continue to rise despite unmistakable signs of danger. National leaders and their societies have failed to do what is needed to change course. Climate change is viewed as a low priority in the United States and many other countries. Emerging and re-emerging diseases continue to threaten the economy, society, and security of the world. Advances in artificial intelligence have increased the risk of terrorists or countries may attain capability of designing biological weapons for which countermeasures do not exist. Corruption of the information ecosystem undermines the public discourse and honest debate upon which democracy depends. The United States, China, and Russia have collective power to destroy civilization. These three countries have the prime responsibility to pull the world back from the brink. Okay, show's over. Do you think that's enough? But seriously, that was what they said. That was the Bureau of Atomic Scientists with their synopsis of how screwed up everything is. hmm And more data has come in from the LA fires. And scientists say that from an air pollution perspective, calling them wildfires is an understatement due to the mass burning of various chemicals and materials. High concentrations of lead and chlorine were detected 11 miles, 17 kilometers away in a few hours of the burning. We saw this all over the internet. It would be accurate, more accurate to call this event a wind driven urban firestorm. Isn't that fun? A similar study from Canada found that urban surface grime, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, is aerolized by the wildfires. So that's pretty gross, isn't it? You're in wildfires and it's aerosolized. But now we're going to move on to Australia. Bushfires spread across tens of thousands of hectares, equivalent to the size of Ibiza or St. Lucia in several hours. No humans were killed, thankfully, but we don't know about the animal toll. It didn't say that, but that's what it looked like. And this is a little bit what I wanted to talk about Amoc. This study, and it was interesting to me, this study from December 2024, it concluded that the Amoc slows down more when the rate of atmospheric CO2 change is faster. So even when the level of CO2 is the same, and this can be explained by a positive feedback cycle, the same amount of carbon emissions released over different amounts of time can lead to qualitatively different climates. So the rate of forcing changes. It's itself a key driver of global climate change. In other words, the AMOC is more sensitive to the rate of CO2 being added to the atmosphere. So this is on top of the research that had come out saying from Woods Hole saying that, well, maybe the AMOC hasn't, but this is showing that we are going to definitely see it happen because of the change of atmospheric CO2. Okay. And they had the positive feedback cycle, but I can't go through the whole thing, but it was very interesting. And we could look at the graphic, but I don't know if that's really, it's just important. Just know that it's just more studying that the AMOC is in trouble. I mean, they have the AMOC weakening, and you can go this way. I don't know. Can you see it big enough? This way, gradual CO2 ramping, or rapid. Okay. So either way, there's still going to be problems, but it's just the difference. If you understand, you understood that. The difference is it's AMOC is more sensitive to the rate of the CO2 being added to the atmosphere. So in the worst case scenario, I suppose, if we just keep pumping and pumping and pumping, and there's no reason to think we're not going to now, at least in the United States, no, well, it's going to change. And these were interesting. They showed a rapid ramping, different, different. And from what we've seen anyway. So it's just adding on to the plethora of AMOC research. I don't, like Jim says, don't get hysterical. It's slow, but it's still going to happen. I mean, what they were talking about here, and there's another study in environmental research letters, which conducted the rate of sea surface temperature that warming has accelerated, well, of course, and that the projected temperature increase in the next 20 years will probably surpass the warming done in the last 40. When mitigation measures are not taken, or, he writes if, no, it's when mitigation temperatures aren't taken. Listen, I'm not sure I'm going to see your cues while I'm reading, so I know you want me to make it bigger. It's kind of hard when it's articles. Let me see if I can go back and make this one bigger. Okay. All right, there you go. So this one was the feedback loop. Schematic showing the proposed positive feedback cycle that can enhance the AMOC weakening. The initial perturbation to the system by the CO2, forcing, we've all learned about the forcing, is indicated by the black star. Surface warming. Steps 1 to 5 indicate the path taken by the rapid CO2 ramping experiment, resulting in enhanced Amoc weakening via the Amoc OHTC ice framework. All right. And so they even get bigger. But let me see. I want to go back. Okay, let's see. Hang on. Hang on. And this, all right. So we can close this one up, but we can look at the other ones if you want to see the gradual ramping by depth. Each side of the graph has the depth and the Amoc strength. So as you see the CO2 changes, you're going to see the different what there. All right, changes in the North Atlantic average density compared to pre-industrial due to temperature panels, which is A and B, and salinity panels C and D, in the two end member ramping experiences. 0.625% CO2 increase per year. Right column is 4%. The gray line indicates the Amoc strength using the right y-axis. So you see gradual and rapid, and then you can see the statistics and how the axis and the gray line, what it's for. Okay. Okay, so then there was another study, and that was the one I wanted to talk about too, published by the Environmental Research Letters, concluded that the rate of sea surface temperature warming has accelerated, which we know, and that the projected temperature increase in 20 years will probably surpass the warming done in the last 40. And again, we go back when mitigation measures aren't taken. Research published in Earth's Future last December suggested that the maximum sea level rise we could see by 2100 is 1.9 meters, which is 0.9 meters above the upper limit, warned about by the latest IPCC. So under a low emission scenario, the fusions very likely range 5th to the 95th percentiles. Do you remember what that is from statistics, right? Of global mean sea level rise is 0.3 to 1.0 meters by 2100. So under a high emission scenario, the very likely range is 0.5 to 1.m. Who thinks we're going to go down to a lower range scenario? Do you think the businessmen are going to still these corporations are going to still put their money? The billionaires are still putting their money. Hang on a second. I got a cough. God damn it. Okay. Are they still going to put their money in renewables? Mm-hmm. Or are we just going to continue? No, it's we don't know now. We know nothing. We know nothing. But this was interesting, and I don't know if I can read this one the way you want me to. Deseasonalized Earth energy imbalance. And integrated deseasonalized Earth energy imbalance. You've got to read the article for this one. Let me see if it's okay. If this was research, anyway, this was Earth's Future, but this was I think it was last year. Come on. Gee, going a little slow tonight, huh, are you? I have everything else off, and okay. All right, so this was a probabilistic projection of sea level rise uses a probability distribution to represent scientific uncertainty. Pretty wild. So this will be in the show notes. What they're saying is using different methods, scientists have constructed several alternative probabilistic projections of sea level rise. By considering their complementary strengths, we propose to combine the alternative projections into a single fusion. The fusion quantifies our best estimate of the uncertainty associated with the future. There's uncertainty with everything. Doesn't matter. There's all uncertainty with everything. Now, here's an interesting story. We'll move a little off the AMOC and the science and the sea levels. And we're going to talk about sinkholes. And I have a couple of pictures I want to show you. These were disturbing. Sinkholes in increasingly salty water affecting the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea, huh? Where water levels drop more than 1 meter every year, a result of water extraction and aridification. See, water seems to be, obviously it's a problem all over. My gosh, what did the orange turd just do to California and shock the farmers? And there was no way to get the water to LA. Complete moron. Well, anyway, these where the water levels drop more than 1 meter a year are a result of the water extraction and aridification. They have regional conflicts, which also complicate efforts to address this ecological disaster because Israel and Jordan share the sea and its tributaries run through Syria and Lebanon. So all these years, the Dead Sea is an ecological disaster, but no one can figure out how to fix it. But what it used to be, a place to go and vacation. And it certainly is not now. And basically what it was, the war in the Middle East also, but it's all what they've taken from it. They closed the beach for years, but it was, it's being, okay, here it is, pumped out by local factories, which are extracting the natural minerals, potash, bromine, sodium chloride, magnesium chloride, and metal magnesium to sell to markets across the world. So clueless morons like we are will use it in fertilizer and buy a bag or take magnesium, whatever. It's just fucking up the Dead Sea. It's been fucked. And they have they've really taken look at this. They've taken the water out. It's just insane. Just sinkholes. And see, look at the roads going there. Another just ruined place. And I had a couple of pictures I was going to put up. So I'm going to close this article, but I want to put these up. That's one of the sinkholes there in the Dead Sea. Almost looks like Siberia, doesn't it? Almost looks like one of those pangos or permafrost melts. But this is the Dead Sea in the Middle East. And I want to take this one, and I have one more. Oh, look at that. And that almost looks like Salt Lake. We are ruining the planet. Steve, you just took a magnesium pill. I can't tell you if it's the same magnesium or not. I didn't go that far. I did not. All right. So, yeah. But interesting stuff. It's just pretty sad that it looks so awful. It just looks absolutely hideous. It's hideous. Yeah, sad. All right. We're going to move on then because we've seen one ecological disaster. And now we are going to go to Indonesia, seeing a fourth consecutive year of increasing deforestation. Especially in the region around where the country's new capital, I guess their old capital wasn't good enough. Or did the orange turd put some pressure on them and say, move your capital too? However, annual totals of deforestation are much lower than figures in 2016, when over 4 times as much land was deforested. So, are they getting a little bit better? Now, this is interesting. Paris is planning for a once-in-a-century flood, the type of natural disaster which officials believe would be the most costly. So they're preparing ahead of time. Although severe Parisian flooding has traditionally been associated with the winter, climate change could create conditions for historic flood in summer now. So they had a study, and this study, whoa, in Nature Medicine examined 850 metro areas across Europe and concluded that with no adaptation to heat, the increase in heat related deaths consistently exceeds decrease in cold related deaths. So you're going to die of the heat, but you're not going to freeze to death, even if the Amoc slows down. Okay. But this was pretty interesting. So Paris is planning. Oops. Paris is planning, and they want it. France 24 will show you, because they've been, just like everywhere else. The River Seine is going to come up. So that article is in this. But the heat is interesting. Where is that article? This is the study in Nature Medicine, which estimating future heat related and cold related mortality under climate change demographics and adaptation scenarios. 854 European cities is a lot of cities. And this was a lot of work. But you get the understanding, you get the drill. These cities they have to prepare themselves for heat and floods. And this was interesting because this was from heat. Let's see how we can do this then. And at 1.5 C, these are this is where the most concentrations of heat, prostration, stroke, deaths, all that's coming up. And these are the cities. So all of these cities, population in millions, excess death rate. So baby, we're all going to die. Yeah. Maybe they're going to die in Europe first. I don't know. That's not very nice. But this is C3, C4, C. These are the projections. And we're going that direction. I mean, should I be happy, Sandy, tonight and lie? I'm not going to lie. I can't lie. This is the shit happening. But at least I'm not as angry as I was. And thank God I didn't do a show on Sunday, because I was worked up and very angry. And there's some things I have to be angry about. All right. Peatlands cover 3% of the Earth's surfaces, but reportedly they store more carbon than all of the world's forests combined. A study on peatlands concluded that the near future, 2061 to 2080, might see climate change in the UK, which becomes too dry and warm for the livable range for lots of peatland moss. See, another bad thing that's not sustainable is the peat. You go buy peat and peat fertilizer and peat moss. Don't do that. All right, so they dry out. They're going to release large quantities of carbon. So what else is new? Into the atmosphere, becoming carbon sources instead of sinks. Just one more, have a checklist. What is going from a carbon sink to a carbon source? You can fill up a notebook. I should have one. I should make a list. Okay, let's do it every week. We'll see what else has become a carbon emitter. Now, let's go into a little political bullshit now. Some writers believe that the reason why climate change ideology is dying is because so-called elites championing environmental awareness and various green measures live hypocritical lives, talking the talk but still flying on private jets, engaging in large-scale environmental exploitation in one form or another, and generally behaving as if Earth's problems aren't so terminal. Can you say, Michael Mann? Sorry, Michael, but you fly to all the meetings, don't you? I'm not just singling him out. A lot of them do. And I guess that's where it comes from, All right. We have another PNAS study. PNAS. Alrighty, let's look at this one. Abrupt transformation of West Greenland lakes following compound climate extremes associated with atmospheric rivers. So, what they're saying is that West Greenland lakes examine the sudden change starting in late 2022 of previously blue lake waters going brown from iron and organic material runoff. That's perfect then. Don't you think the tech bros? Don't you think Elon will love all that shit? You know, the worse it gets there, they could just drill goddamn Greenland because that's what they're going to do. They're going to force their hand if they have to. I guess I'm not very optimistic. The lakes shifted from being summer carbon sinks to sources with a 350% increase in carbon dioxide flux from lakes to the atmosphere after a series of atmospheric rivers that simultaneously produced record heat and rainfall in the region. So look at that. That is extreme air temperature, this is Greenland, and precip during autumn. Waterlogging of previously dry soil leads to redox driven mobilization of organic matter, nutrients, and metals. Temperatures above zero, see in September and October, keep the soils unfrozen and precip falls as rain. And that's the hydrological connectivity. And that's what makes it blue and brown and gross, disgusting, and ready for drilling and ready for the big planet eaters to come along and just destroy it. Ecological consequences are shallower mixing depth, shallower CHLA maximum, increase in automixotroph. Well, wait a minute, I got to move that over. I can't see it. Mixotrophic, phytoplankton taxa, loss of benthic habitat, lower bacterial density. So there's another destruction. God, I'm telling you, it is not fun. This is a hard show to do because you go around the world and there's so much going on. We don't, you don't hear about these little science stories, and they all link, they all link to the bigger issues. But of course, in the United States, nobody's going to know what science is 2 years from now. Okay. So, locations in mainland France, Switzerland, Hungary, and Germany saw record January temperatures. Oh, that's, not great. Yeah, they did. And wait a minute, I'm looking for something here. Oh, I'll find it. So in southern Italy, over half of wildfires were supposedly started by mafia members or other criminals, including seasonal workers eager to prolong firefighting contracts, farmers who want to clear forests for grazing, protesters, or people with vendettas. Money, power, and spite, the unholy trinity. And isn't Italy leaning fascist now anyway with their prime minister? Or whatever she wants to call herself. Cyprus ended its second driest January in 124 years. The overuse of pesticides on Kashmiri apples has elevated cancer rates in the region. New January heat records felt in Thailand as a heat wave passed through. Portland, Oregon set a new record for the longest January without rain. In a big chunk of the Megaberg, A23 broke off. Let's look at that. Big chunk. And this has been talked about in the science circles. The world's largest iceberg has stayed largely intact as it drifted through the ocean. But scientists what? But scientists, they say a piece 19 kilometers, which is 12 miles long, has now cleaved off. Well, one cleave to another. What do you think? One cleave to another. Babies. One cleave to another. And so there's a problem. And it's that actually it's moving towards South Georgia. And there was a new January high in Kenya, which was 39.8 C, 104 F. Hot. I feel bad for Kenyans. I feel bad for a lot of things. That's the problem. I wish I didn't feel. A marine heat wave is being blamed for a fish die off in Western Australia, which killed 30,000 plus fish. Meanwhile, Arctic temperatures are expected to be more than 28 or 50 F above average in the next few days. That was last week because I watch. I watch. I've got Jim's temperature in Fairbanks always up on my weather app. Uh, are we going to talk about this idiot? No, because I'm going to talk after. Well, I mean, he didn't actually. He lost because Mexico and Canada outsmarted his ass. December 18th, Canada had their program up on the website or before then. So Orange Turd wants to, peace. Oh, I'm so great. Hmm. Oh my God. Not that South Georgia. You know goddamn well what I'm talking about. All right. So, uh, yeah. Well, we're going to talk about this after. Leon has been granted access to sensitive Treasury Department information. I don't want to talk about that now. We're talking about it after. And rampant inflation has come to Libya, where people are being priced out of daily supplies. Just wait. Germany's unemployment rate hit 10-year highs in South Africa. Load shedding worsened over the weekend. And let's see what the hell. Oh, I don't want to go. Oh, stage 3 load shedding. So the electricity is having problems. Load shedding. The utility had said it was hit by the perfect storms of incidents that have brought outages back. Lovely. Okay, so they're load shedding in South Africa. Maybe Elon should go over there. And why doesn't he go home and fix their electric system and never come back here? A depressing study published, what isn't depressing lately, studied in Science, it confirmed that it only takes hours for nanoplastics. I'm doing it right now. Here's my nanoplastic. This is stainless. Once consumed to arrive in brains of mice and humans and breach the blood brain barrier, leading to neurotoxic effects. And that explains MAGA. Because we're much smarter and we watch what we do. They don't. So that explains MAGA. And once there, the micro nanoplastics can block the blood flow, leading to blood clotting and changes in animal behavior. The only way to remove them in our body is through death. No, blood donation, but I don't even think that's accurate. But ew, that's like pretty disgusting. I'm not going through this whole thing showing the brain, even though I like the brain. I don't want to talk about wealth in the UK. And there are some, I do want to talk a little bit about these sicknesses, but I wanted to talk about Toronto's tuberculosis cases hit 23-year highs. Kansas has tuberculosis, the largest TB outbreak in American history, 2025, folks. The U.S. public health emergency from COVID turned 5 years old on Friday. What do we do for that? Do we applaud that? Yay! We're just so happy. Yeah. Okay. Over 1/3 of long COVID sufferers experience exercise intolerance, while about 2/3 deal with symptoms like fatigue, cognitive issues, breathlessness, mental health problems like anxiety, depression, and sleep disturbances. It sounds like my life, but that was happening before COVID, but I did have COVID. I really feel for people that have long COVID like that. It's a miserable way to live because, as a disabled person who is getting worse and who hurts all the time, my empathy goes up. Maybe I do have long COVID and I just don't know it because shit's not doing good. But the scientific medical community is still learning new things about COVID, and children's academic scores are still suffering from its impact. But let's not blame just COVID for everything. Of course not. You can't. You can't, because there's a lot of things happening, just like the microplastics. Microplastics in placenta, premature births. Lovely. All right. So, anyway, I'm going to skip some of this stuff because, well, we could talk about the thousands of prisoners in Goma being released who have already committed atrocities, and the rebel forces are presiding over disarmament of government forces and their mercenaries, and allegedly some UN peacekeepers too. So a lot of problems over there. Food prices, looting, fighting, dead bodies in the street. Lovely. Think that's coming here? I don't know, but I'm cold. Okay. It's pretty bad over there. Oh, here's an interesting one. I thought you'd like this one. As the American government tries to depopulate the federal workforce dramatically, claim initiatives are getting hit. It's unclear if the profit buyout is illegitimate or legal, like they care, and if the government will fund agencies after they are set to run out of funds on the 14th of March. So we're going to talk a little after that. And I don't want to talk about the plane crashes because I could. I watch like a hawk, but I'm not going to. We're just going to go right down to Gaza because today Orange Turd said that, they can't go back to Gaza. He's a fucking idiot. They can't go back to Gaza. Gaza's not working. It hasn't worked for decades. It's now like destroyed. Well, why is it destroyed, Orange Turd? And Netanyahu was there today. And they're talking about, okay, well, we're going to move these people. They don't want to leave. Okay, we're moving the Palestinians to Jordan and Egypt. Those are the two names. You know, I'm surprised they're not going to move them to Guantanamo. The apocalypse is supposed to be more fun. Sorry. I'm sorry we're not having enough fun tonight. I do have a fun video, though. So basically, it's pretty bad. And now they're going, the hotels will be going up. All right, so that's what I'm doing in Last Week in Claps, because I really did want to do a couple of other things. So we're going to have a little laugh, okay? We are definitely going to have a little laugh, I promise.
Would you look at that? The fence is back. And that must mean only one thing. We are finna take us a little walk and talk, friends. And folks, you already know what is on tap for today. We are going to talk about these tariffs and the fact that the tangerine tyrant is already 0-2 in this little trade war. As it would turn out, our maple-flavored friends had a little surprise in store for us. As we all sat around and watched our country be sold to billionaires, they were putting together a little plan to put Pumpkin Spice Palpatine and all of his pals in their place. Spoiler warning, if you live in a red state, your life is about to get a lot more expensive. And them fine folks south of the border, well, they just laughed and said bet as they prepared to deal a deadly blow to our American automotive industry. I feel like the Fanta fascist has forgot he was one of the key people who made it possible for all this south of the border car production. And before one of the copper-tone cowards cadre of cronies hops in my comment section to tell me there's no way their God King could have saw these price hikes coming, I can prove you wrong. You see, my not-so-good friend, Mayo Sapien Mao left exactly one little exception in his sweeping 25% tariffs. He only put 10% on energy. But Mr. Bartender, why would he only put 10% on energy instead of the full 25? Well, once again, you have landed on a good question, ongoing made-up patron. Give me just a second, I'm gonna get to it. You see, friends, by only tariffing energy by 10%, it absolutely shows they know the price hike is coming and the average red state cannot afford a full 25% increase. The reality of the situation is most of you red hat rockers couldn't afford a 1% increase, but 10% is absolutely a price he is willing to make you pay to prove his point. Exactly what point that is, we're all kind of still wondering, because there is absolutely no upside to this bullshit for anybody involved. Nobody will make any kind of money. The only reason the Bone Spur Bandit's even going through with this bullshit is because you idiots believed the lie and his ego is too big to back down now. But Mr. Bartender, won't this force American companies to start manufacturing our products instead of having to import them? No, you're just going to pay 25% more for them. But even if you were right, you're not, you're wrong, but let's just assume you were. Where the fuck they gonna manufacture all this stuff at? Who is going to man the factories? Unemployment is at an all-time low. Where exactly are you going to find the fucking workers? Exactly how long would it take them to be built? Where are the materials going to come from? Do you seriously think a single company is going to tank their profits for the better part of 2 decades just so they can make stuff here when all they actually have to do is charge you 25% more and you will absolutely pay it? Will y'all ever get the molasses out of your asses and unfuck yourselves? Find out on the next exciting episode of Our Country is Being Brought to Its Knees by a Con Man in the middle of a coup and y'all are clapping for it. Anyways, that's going to be my rant for the day. Honestly, it speaks for itself. If you made it this far, do me a favor and hit them buttons, maybe even consider becoming a member. If not, that is perfectly okay. You have you a wonderful day. Keep the motherfucking boots out of your motherfucking mouth, and remember that the golden rule will always remain. Yeehaw, fuck the law. I love y'all. I'll see you down the line.
Okay, so I thought that was fun, huh? What did he say? His name is the bartender? Yeah.
All right, guys, I got some
Wait a minute.
absolutely colossal.
Nope. We don't want him. Okay, I have one more guy to show you, okay? And then, I want to show you this, and I want you to think about this. Now, I know that a lot of people get angry when I do politics, or they don't like when I do politics. And, you can't help but mix politics with what we're living, because climate change is politics and they want to scrub it off of everything. They want to change a lot of the laws. There is a guy that they're putting in, I don't have his name right now. They're putting in the NOAA. It may not be as horrible as we think. I mean, it could be pretty bad, but it didn't seem, I read it today, he's been involved before. And nothing was said about dismantling it, okay? But then, we don't really know. We don't know, but maybe some of the people around the orange turd are, sorry about this, putting on my slippers. My feet are cold. Maybe people around the orange turd have told him to get rid of the, I can't get my goddamn slipper on. All right. To get rid of the NOAA would be very stupid because we need it. And probably maybe people from NASA had said to him, hey, listen, can't do this. But, all right, I put my slippers on. My feet were freezing. It's getting cold again. What is it? It is, let me see. Yeah, it's 17 and a winter weather advisory until Thursday. Just lovely for me. I have to drive to Buffalo to get my car inspected Thursday. And my truck had a windshield crack. So I haven't been going anywhere anyway. The only day I go out, I freaking never go anywhere. And I go out, I don't know how it happened, but it got a crack and it started cracking more. So I hope that doesn't happen. We're going to listen to my friend Carl now. And I'm really not going to get... Well, Alex, if you're in the chat, he can tell you I was so angry because I wrote to him and I told him I was having a meltdown. Oh, I was. And don't let me forget to talk about disability, okay? Don't let me forget to talk about the government and what's happening. Please, somebody make a note because I sometimes forget because... All right, let's listen to Carl.
As a veteran of the United States Air Force, I can tell you, if I were an enemy of America, I absolutely would be so excited right now. Not only because the chaos is good for my country, but also because the opportunities for infiltration are massive at this point. All of the amateur hour stuff you see going on right now, all of the amateur hour people that are being nominated to the highest positions right now, I would absolutely be all over Elon Musk. right? In terms of getting my spies to get really close to him. And these guys are such buffoons. They're like political hacks, shall we say. I mean, Elon Musk is like a ketamine addicted Twitter addict troll. So the idea of me getting a spy close to him, just saying, woke stuff and these stupid Democrats and these liberals, just all the talking points. I would imagine it's got to be so easy to get these guys to drop their guards and get really close. And the Secretary of Defense, I would be right now recruiting the most beautiful woman right now, honey trap, setting him up, booze him up, get him all drunk, and who knows the damage we could do. He is so easy of a target in terms of somebody to compromise. And this guy is going to be the Secretary of Defense. This is MAGA, right? Crippling our military, putting our military in such a vulnerable position. Perhaps one of those young men that have access to that system right now is one of my agents who has embedded certain software that is in our systems right now. And think about, just with the click of a button, completely shutting down the Treasury. Think about the chaos that would happen in this country. You've seen just some limited freezing of payments or whatever. Imagine the entire system goes down, right? This is modern warfare, right? People still stuck in like bombs and missiles. This is the cyber age. So the idea of having people accessing sensitive systems who don't have any kind of security clearance, young kids, Elon Musk himself has not passed a background check. He was an illegal immigrant. This is MAGA, right? MAGA, who claims to be patriots, are okay with such a violation, such a danger to this country. I mean, what we're talking about, I didn't have the words to illustrate the kind of damage and the kind of risk that is involved in what's happening right now. And these MAGA folks are online giggling and laughing and like, oh, this is funny, look at those immigrants. Meanwhile, I'm telling you, man, our enemies have to be so happy right now. I can't imagine a better time than now. I mean, January 6th, these people keep putting us at risk. January 6th, when we had all that chaos, all those people in there, things were out of control. You know how easy it would have been if I were a spy and I had somebody watching this whole thing to sneak in there and in all the chaos to, basically get on these computer systems and embed all kinds of listening devices and backdoors. So on January 6th, these people, this MAGA movement, put this country at such risk. And here they are, once again, the so-called patriots, doing potentially unrecoverable damage to this country. It's absolutely insane. And the fact that this is not a bigger conversation, a lot of people talk about this. I don't really hear people talking about the national security implications. I mean, that's not seem to be the biggest focus. It should be. This is serious stuff. And I know if you don't have the training, if you're not a military person or ex-military, these are not things that you think about. But one of my core missions was national security, right? We were trained to think about these types of things in terms of protecting the homeland. And right now, we got our pants down. By the way, many times in the past, I have said one of the biggest problems with Donald Trump is he's a major national security threat. This is a perfect example of exactly what I was talking about. This was so predictable. So predictable. This guy is a danger to the country. And I don't give a fuck about who wants to say, oh, those are divisive words or whatever. It's the motherfucking truth.
Well, there's a short-term freeze with Mexico, as you know, and with Canada.
That was Carl. Carl has the Debate Me channel, and he's pretty good. I didn't go that far for the audio. I'm back. It wasn't that long. It wasn't that long. All I was talking about was changing the screen. All right. So I'll have links to the bartender, and I will have links to Carl, the Debate Me channel. Carl is very interesting. And sometimes he's in the chat here. He's a very tiny YouTuber, doesn't give a shit about anybody. He will talk about what he says. And actually, some things I agree with him, some things I don't agree with him on. But I find him to be pretty goddamn compelling and smart. Maybe others don't, but I do. I like him. And what he said there was right. And the reason why I want to talk about disability is because I read Well, I watched this other guy, this disability guy. He was a big, big wig in Social Security, has a YouTube channel, talks about Social Security all the time. And there are 8 million people on Social Security disability. And these people are heartless in the United States. So the national security threat is also a personal threat. It's a threat to people like me or you. These people have the keys to the Treasury. They're in the Treasury. And if you believe for a minute that they're not forensic auditors, they don't have the actual legality. The Doge is not anything that has been approved by Congress or the Senate, even though I'm not sure about Congress or the Senate in the United States. I mean, I think that the right side of the aisle are intimidated and afraid to stray. We are not in very good times. But the disability thing is 8 million people on disability, okay? These people, they want to open Gitmo. They are opening Gitmo. You won't have the ability to fight. They'll take the illegals, but from what we understand, they want to do a sweep. If you have a Spanish name, if you're brown, even if let's say you're a tourist from another country and you have dark skin and you're walking on the street and ICE comes and does a sweep, you get arrested. Then you have to go through all this crap to get out. I mean, this is what's happening. It's already starting to happen. 2 weeks, okay? 2 weeks. It's happening in 2 weeks. So 8 million people on disability. They are very heartless. Am I a conspiracy theorist to say, well, maybe they just want us all to die? We don't know. The Social Security guy wasn't making us scared like that. But what he was saying is they could take disabled people and make you go through hoops again, send you the forms that you have to keep filling out. And they're going to say that they're trying to, root out fraud. There's fraud in every system, but there are internal auditors. Okay, these people aren't auditors. They have cooed our country. So who's to say, hey, the first people that are going to get letters are the disabled. Fuck you. Prove it. Jump through hoops. Kick you off anyway. Take your Medicare away. They are eugenicists. And another thing I've been thinking about, so to get y'all paranoid, right? But I mean, really, seriously, do I sound like a tinfoil hat? I don't know. I see these things, and if you listen to some people that are incredibly brainwashed, it's the greatest thing. Oh my God, he's kicking ass and taking names and blah, blah, blah. I don't think so. And I did have another article I wanted to read. It's almost an hour, but I'm going to tell you about the article really quickly. The article is called "The Rich Are Hoarding Wealth Because They Know What's Coming. Collapse is baked into their business." And it's a long one. I'm going to put the link in there. The guy's name is Angus Peterson, and he goes through, the article's really good. They don't care. All right. He says, make no mistakes, collapse is not some distant dystopian fantasy. We're already deep in a polycrisis, climate change, biodiversity loss, resource overshoot, economic instability, and authoritarian creep. So you get the idea of what the article is about. I mean, I could sit and read it, but it's good and you should. I will, Jules, I will definitely link the article. It is a Medium, And then he's talking about the billionaires. They don't care. This is their end game. They don't care. They'll be watching from their fortified compounds, sipping expensive wine while the rest of us fight over scraps. And it's it's a good article, and it made sense to me, And I'm trying to determine, like I always do, am I paranoid? Am I reading too much? Am I wearing a tinfoil hat? There's a lot. Oh yeah, he is, isn't he? Okay. Proud father Agus Peterson is the new king of the Doomers. He's dodging your invitation. Can't imagine why. Oh boy, let me see if I can fix this. How did these get so big? I hate when stupid things happen and I don't fix them before the show. That means all of your comments are going to be like shitty because I didn't know they were screwed up. Hang on. Somehow I'll fix it. Let's see. All right. Give me the second. Oh, here we go. Well, it is paranoid. Okay. I don't know how it got screwed up. Sam, you screwed it up. Thank you, Sandy. It is paranoia if it's true. Well, it is paranoia. Is it paranoia? Oh, is it paranoia if it's true? Well, I'm always checking myself. I like to think I'm a mentally healthy person. I don't like to think that I'm feeling things that are not appropriate. And when you see what these people are doing in 2 weeks or trying to do, even though Donald Trump's the orange turd screwed up the tariff thing, at least for a while. Because Mexico and Canada outsmarted him, I think, from what I've read. I just can see the cruelty. And what I think months ago, last year, during the election, I said, they're going to be setting firing squads up at the Mexican border. I haven't seen that yet. Okay, I haven't seen evidence of that yet, but would you trust that they wouldn't? They want to ship Americans to El Salvador. I mean, as the Orange Church said, really bad people. Why are they hiding? Why don't they just have firing squads and kill everybody they don't like? That's what I feel like it's coming to. I mean, people are calling Guatemala a death camp. I don't know. I can't go that far. I don't know what's going on down there. I don't know how they got it set up so fast. When Musk was in Mar-a-Lago, they planned it all out. Did we think they were just having dinners? Mm-hmm. What about Angus? You'd like to hear Jordan Peterson interview him. Oh my gosh, please. Well, the article's good. I mean, you got to read it. You guys got to read it. Be in the links. So anyway, as long as I've got my hands in reality, I hope. Couple of things. By the way, I made this because we have solidarity with everybody in all of the different countries that they are targeting. And I think I like it. I put up a Canadian flag outside my house. I'm waiting for the Mexican flag, and then I'm waiting for all the red motherfuckers around here to have a heart attack. Oh my gosh. Really, Christopher? You were in Guatemala City all night. From your hotel room, you could hear constant gunshots. Ooh, I don't want this to get bigger. I'm afraid to... Oh, I did it. I did it again. How is this happening? I don't know why it's happening. Anyway, let's see. Yes, Greenland is worried. I know Greenland is worried, and they should be. They should be, because these people have the money. They're going to strong arm the Norwegians. They're going to strong arm them. This is what they want, I think. It's a sick thing about taking over the world. And I mean, little Barco was in El Salvador making a deal to send our citizens to El Salvador. I won't. I won't. The only beehive I'm going to have is Ivanka because Ivana, she might be coming back. Yes, Ivana gave me a call from St. Petersburg. She might be coming back. Yeah. All right. So we'll have a little bit of chit chat with you guys as long as everything. EU sending warships to Greenland. Lovely. Lovely. You know, Donald, the orange turd is really crazy. An empire in decline is at its most dangerous. Seems so. Oh, I have to tell you guys something. Guess what? This is what we have on the fundraiser for the this is for the Pasadena Animal Shelter. So let's have an applause for this because this is good. Yay. That might not be everything. I have to calculate the other one, but I have to take my costs. I pay taxes on this stuff. So this is what I'm sending. It'll come. That is wonderful for and thank you everybody. That's going to Pasadena. Yes, it's going in February. They're still going to have a need. It's not like it's over once the fires are over. The animals are still there. They're still suffering, and all of you did a really wonderful job on that. And also, I thought I would give a report. You know that Donald Trump is going to be memorialized on Mount Rushmore, and the stonemason has an actual pre-replica of what's going up. So Donald Trump's going up. Work begins on his Mount Rushmore image. All right, guys, we have to have a little bit of fun. And I think I have one more, and maybe this is just a little. I'm not going back to X at all. At all. I'm done. I love the Climate Crisis Club on Saturday, but I don't want to go back to X. I hate it. I put this up today. Environmental Coffee House, I'm leaving the platform. I'm deactivating my account. I need time to think, but I can't support the person that owns this platform and is destroying my country. And I'm not going. I'm on Blue Sky. I don't need it. I was going to get off it on January 20th, and I was still there. And after all of this, I realized I cannot support that person. I don't want to be there. Yes, I know. They did. I know. I said it earlier. There's the whole plan is to have them ship out to Jordan. And you know, there's a lot of money over there now because they're going to develop Gaza, and Jordan and Egypt will get a piece of the pie for rounding up the Palestinians. And you know what's really sick? The orange turd is sitting there saying, oh, it'll be a nicer place. Today in the news conference, it'll be a nicer place. Maybe they'll live in, blah, blah. I mean, he's so full of shit. Netanyahu was there today. One of the biggest war criminals in my lifetime was there today. Do you think they were talking about, oh, let's move them to some really nice areas? I don't think so. I don't think so. Hey, I got my thumbs down. Don't forget, guys, though, give me a thumbs up. Somebody gave me yeah, no excuses. Right, I'm doing it. Yep. All right, so I got my thumbs down. I'm happy. And, oh, I got a super chat. Nadia! $5 from Nadia. You know that they're going to ship trans people out to El Salvador after they make being trans illegal. Still on CDMX, but headed to Berlin. That feels good. Can I fuck with this again one more time? No. All right. That feels good. That's good. I'm glad. And I had a couple of favorites. Let me see here. I didn't. I told you, my paranoia. They kicked me off and I have nothing. I mean, quite frankly, without I'll die. And they want 8 million of us too. So they do. I sat here today getting ready for the show, thinking about how can I get a job. I sat here crying today. My back hurts so bad. It's just, it's insane. It's really insane. I'm not getting any better and I'm not getting any younger, and it's really sad. So I was thinking, if you don't like me talking politics, I do have that other channel. I just don't have 1,000 subscribers, so I couldn't do live shows. I mean, I could move over and do the politics over there, but everything is so intertwined right now. And I really want to talk about the policies now. Lee Zeldin was confirmed in the EPA, so we've got to watch these things. And I want to see what's going on at the National Weather Service and the guy that they put in for the, I'm pretty sure it's the NOAA. So, okay, I'm not crying. Who's crying? Yeah, I know, I saw it. It's just the beginning. My other channel is Sandy Blue Ocean. I have stuff stuck on there, but it only has like 130. I'll put the link in. You can all subscribe, so maybe I can start talking politics on there. And then I can leave this for, well, what we do here. Because I have a surprise. Jennifer is back with me Friday night, which is wonderful. We'll do another short. Yay! Jennifer's coming back. We are going to do a mix between a spiritual show and an Arctic show. We all need support. We all need the support right now. It's the hardest times we're going to go through together. And I don't know about 4 of these, but I got 3 marriage proposals to Canada, 2 men and 1 woman, and I can go to Norway if I can get a visa. What do you do with 8 cats? Oh my gosh. I know. We have LT9K coming up on Friday. LT9K Day. So we are appreciating Looney Tunes because he moderates so many different shows. And I have the best moderators, though. I have Looney, Jean, and Kim. And sometimes when Nina's here. But anywhere but here. Okay. All right. So I look forward to on Friday. I'm really glad that I didn't get so angry that I started ranting like how pissed off I was this weekend. And it was much better that I didn't do a show. And I got stuff done because Richie came and refilled up the wood. And there's a lot to do here. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And thank you again. And Christopher, it's good to see you here. And so many of you are wonderful. Thank you. I'm just really, really happy. I thought this was what we were going to have. And I couldn't be happier. So they take the taxes out, but on Buy Me a Coffee, I pay taxes. I don't make that much a month. Holy shit. I don't make anything. I earn enough in this gig economy to pay my internet and for the cats, and cat food is ridiculous. So, okay, well, peace out. Oh, I didn't even pick out a closing song. And we didn't do a toilet flush. I keep forgetting the toilet flush. What are we going to flush? I've done it. Haven't we done it before? I'm flushing Elon Musk. Go. He can gargle my balls. I don't know. Did you hear the ICE agent? The bus driver told the ICE agent to gargle his balls. And I made a short and I messed it up. I meant to say gargle. All right. That's good. Let's find some music. Do I have music? All right. We'll go out with some dancing music and we'll feel a little bit more up, okay? So everybody, get up and move it. Move it. Do it, because that's what's going to make us feel better. Love you guys. Woo! don't be angry. It's only 70s disco. I forgot. Antonio Reed is on with us on Left Past 10 tomorrow night. Antonio Reed, Left Past 10.